Imagine this. Your tank is running pretty good, all your fish are happy and it looks really nice. But then, suddenly out of the blue, there's a power failure. Did you know that a power failure can wipe out a complete tank? Think about it, because if this happens to you, there's no way back and everything will be dead. This video is about building a solution to prevent this from happening to you. For this project I'm going to use a battery for a car. It's a 60 amp battery, which is not new but still very good for this project. What we need to do first is determine the amount of time that we can use this battery in case of a power failure. The amperage is the power in watts divided by the voltage. So now let's take the example of a circulation pump that is running on 24 volts with a power consumption of 30 watts. Putting all this information in the blender, we can conclude that this specific pump will use 1.25 amperage. So now we know the energy usage of the pump. However, it's a 24 volts pump and unfortunately a battery is only 12 volts. To overcome this situation, normally you will have two batteries that you put into series. So then you double the voltage, but you still have the same amperage. In our case that's not going to help, so we are going to use a device that will change 12 volts into 24 volts. The drawback of this is that it will limit the capacity of the battery to half of the original size. So let's bring all this now into perspective and see what it will mean for our case and what we can do with it. Although we have a battery of 60 amperage, we know that we need to increase from 12 to 24 volts. So this will actually mean that we can run for at least 24 hours on full capacity, which is great. So now let's take a look what we need. The first thing that we want to use is a connector specifically to be able to charge the battery. The next device is the converter for 12 volts to 24 volts. 24 volts of course, because our pump cannot run on 12 volts. And of course we need some kind of electronic device that is able to switch. We are going to make use of the Tunze safety connector. Next to the main components we also going to use some small stuff, but we will put a list in the description of the video. Now let's start building. We're gonna speed up a little because otherwise it will take a long time, but the first thing we're going to connect are the cables for the charger for the battery. As you can see, you need to tailor it a little bit to make sure that you can make a safe connection, as we don't want any fires. Yes, you can see this guy is not a professional, but he's a hobbyist with good intentions. So please bear with me, he will finish. So the first step is to connect the 12 to 24 volt converter to it. First we prepare the wires and we put some nice connectors to it so that it can be easily added to the battery. As you can see, there's not much to it. All you need to do is to make sure that the connector is tightened to the wire so it cannot slip off. Good grief, this guy is so slow and dangerous. He needs to speed up, otherwise he's going to electrocute himself. So it's coming together nicely. As you can see, we have now made all the connections for the battery. So the next phase will be creating the connections from the Tunze safety connector to the pump. The Tunze safety connector is equipped with a fuse, which is good. Always make sure that you have fuses to protect your investments and make sure that no overload can take place. The safety connector has 3 different connectors. The first one is specifically for the battery. The second one is for the power supply of the pump you want to use. And the third one is for the pump itself. We now have connected all the components, so it's time for the first test run on the main tank. What you see here is the controller of a AI Nero pump, and you can see it has power. So when you take off the power, you can see that it turns off. So now we are going to put the connector of the power supply into the Tunze. You can see that it does not fit properly. So we need to install a little adapter to make sure that the connection can be made. So when you put it in, you make sure that you connect it thoroughly. Then we're going to put the other side of the Tunze connector back to the controller. And as you can see, the light turns on. So this means at this moment it receives power, but then the power is coming directly from the Tunze safety connector. And as you can see, if I take it out, that the light does not turn off, so it switches off automatically. And here it switches back to the battery. I think it's job done. I hope this video inspired you to build your own solution to prevent power failures to your tank. If you liked the video, please consider subscribing because it keeps the channel going. Thank you for your attention, and we'll see each other again in the next video.